Okay, you cut things out though, right?
You have seen this show before, right? Well, if it's particularly egregious, like I say something silly, then of course I'll cut it out. But if it's, something
If
else,
it's me or Scott. Well,
yeah.
Scott, you encourage this kind of foul behavior,
That's why
right?
Scott is
Yeah.
here. Yes.
I'm the designated foul mouth, the whole thing.
Scott, it's getting too classy in here. He's like, I'll take care of that.
We're running the risk of getting sponsored by the Vatican. Get in here fast.
This is going to be a kind of a fly by the seat of our pants kind of thing. I really am enjoying the chemistry so far. I think we're hilarious, as our emails would attest.
Yeah.
But happy to have Beth Lynne on the show for the first time ever. She is a writer, an editor. What else are you up to? And how the hell do you have time to do all those things?
I am retired and living on a New Jersey school teacher's pension in Florida. And I have all the time in the day around the clock if I'm awake all night with indigestion. Once you hit a certain age, it's just like you don't sleep anymore. You pace the floor.
Well, I'm already doing that, so I apparently have something to look forward to.
So basically, the writing, I don't do so much, but editing, it's nonstop. About, I don't know, in 2011, I started my own business. And I don't know, really, I was going to do consulting because I had just gotten my doctorate in education leadership. And I wanted to just edit dissertations. I thought, I'm going to be an academic. And yeah. And then I just made a website, and then I started writing, and I wanted to self-publish because I had written some books. And I went on Twitter, and we started, I guess, trading books and trading reviews and that kind of thing that you do when you start out. And the cat's there. That's Bill.
Which one is that?
That's Bill. Her real name's Willow, but I call her Bill because it's like a nickname for William. Stupid.
Billow.
But, oh, God, you should see what we named the people in the nursing home that my mom's in. But anyway, I'll get that. I don't know if you watch King of the Hill, but my daughter and I did this whole thing, and it's really rude, and I shouldn't even get into it because I'll probably lose customers. But with the editing, it just came from looking at other people's books and seeing what self-publishers were self-publishing, and there were a lot of errors. So I started looking at people's books and saying, well, if you want me to look through this and catch the errors, I'll give it back to you. And so a star was born. So since 2011, I've really not ever, like maybe I've had a day or so that I didn't have something to edit. And I've written in between that, but not so much. But editing is my main career now. And living off the state of New Jersey pensions.
Well, you put in your time. I think you do.
I did 25 years in New Jersey and a few in New York. So, yeah. So well, I was really glad to retire. It was time.
Yeah, I can see how it would definitely get to you. My hat is off to all teachers everywhere.
Thank you. Mine too now.
There's a time when I thought I could possibly do it, and now I have 2 children. I'm like, what was I thinking? There's absolutely no way I could do that. So I always respect those who can do things I can't do, which is just about everybody. But
me too.
Teachers in particular are the stars.
Oh, thanks.
The system, as far as I'm concerned.
The children are just delightful.
Well, the nervous laughter. I don't actually remember how I found you. If I was just Googling. Full disclosure, Beth Lynne does pretty much all my editing and does a fabulous job. Yep, and Scott's too. And I was trying to remember how I had originally come. I don't know if it was on Twitter. It may have been Twitter.
Probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what is
that
it with
was
us?
A while back.
in Twitter. Everybody meets on Twitter in
Yeah.
this group.
Yep.
Because that's how Craig and I met too, Beth. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
Yeah. He and I met on Twitter just being stupid one day, and now we've been being stupid together for 8 years.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I've known Craig, 5 years or something? I'd have to go back in my files and see when the first thing was. I keep everything. Except for people I don't like, they go into the dead file.
I don't know if I ever told you, Beth, that how I ended up choosing you was I wrote a short story, and I was looking for an editor, and so I sent the same story to 3 or 4 different editors to see what the return would be on the same story. And obviously yours was the best. And I was like, yes. I was like, it's like, I don't know, you understood, like you found like the errors and you did the corrections as like one would expect, but then you also seemed to understand my writer's voice a little bit. Like there were some other ones who sent it back and they tried to change it into their voice. And to me, that is not really exactly what an editor is for, right. At least not in terms of what I was looking for. And so the way you handled it, beyond just the practical things, was what really attracted me. So if anybody's looking for an editor, she's a good one. So
yeah, she is.
Yeah, and what is
from my perspective also, because my main character is a woman, having a female editor was very helpful, because at least 3 or 4 times she's like, no woman on earth would ever say that, Scott.
Gosh.
I was gonna ask if she's ever
no, you're making me think of stuff, and I'm wondering if that's yours or Craig's book. And I don't know why.
Craig.
No, actually, I don't think it was either one of you. I don't want to talk about it. It was actually it was a sex scene, and women don't do what men do when they reach the end. They don't. And so I had to correct somebody, and it's a little embarrassing because here I am, a 57-year-old woman telling, I think my average male writer is in his mid to late 30s. Right. And, that guy could be my son, really, even though my kids aren't that old. But in the comments, and I have to put a happy face emoji after it. Women don't do that.
Emoji. Yeah, the emojis are great for it.
I have to do an emoji. Always the smiley face. I realized because my eyesight, because I have to wear the cheaters now. And I realized that I kept sending a blushing smile to one client, and so I had to change it over. They do get me in trouble a little bit. I sent a vomiting green St. Patrick's one to my son the other day. He's like, "Are you all right?" He said, "When I graduate, I'm coming home to take care of you." He's in college. We left him in New Jersey. We had such nerve. We were like, "Bye, Zach. We're moving to Florida now." My daughter's like, "I don't want to go to Florida, but you have to come, because you have nowhere else to go." I'll live in a box, just not Florida. That's God's waiting room, It's sunny. I mean, my window's open. I have palm trees. You guys can visit. You could take your kids to Disney.
That would be fun. We should actually do that.
Would. Everyone has
kids,
fun here,
of course.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're 4. I think they can probably take care of themselves for a couple of days.
I thought you just had the twins.
Well, he needs
they're
4.
They're 4 years old.
Yeah. Oh, God. What? Shush. No. There will be no of that talk. But speaking of
I wish
emojis,
I had more.
No,
go ahead.
No, hell no.
I could talk forever. Just go ahead. Emojis.
Yeah. I just trying. I know Scott may have mentioned this, or maybe it's like
Scott hasn't said much of anything.
I'm just here.
There's a reason for that.
To provide the pretty face. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Step it up, Scott. No, he may have been the one to tell me this, but somebody's grandmother kept sending the eggplant.
Oh yes.
Was that you that was telling me about that?
Yeah. That it was actually my mother-in-law when she first started texting. She sent that a lot. But this is the same woman who 2 Christmases ago bought my wife sleep pants covered with poop emojis be- because she thought they were cinnamon rolls. And we're all at the family party on Christmas Eve, and Kim opens us up, and the place just goes dead silent. And everybody's trying to figure out who's going to be the one to tell Ma she just gave my wife shit pants,
Oh, where can you buy those?
I think she got them at like Target or someplace like
Oh,
that. So yeah, I'll find out and we can post it on the website where to go get your shit pants.
Perfect.
Because
okay.
There's
I think
a blog post.
they
There's a
ended
blog
up
post for you.
getting traded to my daughter for something slightly less offensive.
Slightly less shitty, right?
Yeah. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your early background, your education, for example? Where did you go to school?
Where did I go to school? You mean college, undergrad?
Yeah.
Oh, University of Albany, State University in New York. I grew up in upstate New York, not as far as you, Scott, I don't think.
No,
But...
no one's as far north as me. Even the people further north than me are not as far north than me.
Yeah, I hear you're way out there. But yeah, I went there and I majored in English with a minor of Chinese language. Don't even ask. I don't even remember. It's like 40 years ago. Wow. And let me think. After that, I waited tables, which I loved. But then I moved back to Queens. Well, not back to Queens. My mother had moved to Queens, and I went to Queens because I had nowhere else to go after a while. I actually stayed in Albany a year extra. I think I lived there 6 years. I think I went to college like 5 years. I graduated high school when I was 16 because I just wanted to get out of the house. So I did a couple of years in one. And then I went to school like a week after. And I ended up staying in Albany waiting tables for a year after I graduated, which was fun. But then they wouldn't hold my job when my brother graduated from law school in Berkeley, and I wanted to go across the United States and see him graduate. And then I moved to Queens, and then I went, because I was threatened that I would be kicked out of the house, I went to Long Island University to become a teacher, and I got my master's. And I know it's getting boring, but then there were no jobs. All of a sudden, there was no teaching jobs. They were like, we need teachers. But we don't need your kind of teacher. We need special ed teachers. So there goes Beth to Queens College and gets her degree in special education. No, there's no special ed jobs now. My mother was working at Manhattan Children's Psychiatric Center on Wards Island. I don't know if you know this. You have to go over the Triborough Bridge, and it's kind of like on a little island. And
no stigma there.
No.
Let's put them all on an island somewhere.
This was the 80s. There was plenty of stigma. So the kids that were in that psychiatric center are now in the public schools because they don't want to classify kids. But that's a whole nother story. I don't want to speak negatively of children and how they act in school. But I taught in the psychiatric center for children for 2 years. That was my first teaching job. It was a lot of fun. But then I moved to the New York City public school system and taught second grade for a couple of years, and then moved to Pennsylvania, to Bucks County, which is right over the bridge from Trenton, New Jersey. And I got a teaching job there, and I stayed there for about 25 years. I got a master's in education in administration, and then I went for my doctorate toward the end of my career. God knows why. I have student loan debt at my age. It's not funny, but I laugh about it. And I'll have it paid off if I don't do something about it. I'll pay off when I'm about 87 or dead, because those loans, they assured me, die with you. They don't go to your children. But
generous of them.
Yeah, but then I went and retired a few years after I got my doctorate because it was just like one day I couldn't stand it anymore. My mother has dementia, and she just kept calling me at work. And I'm like, I'm going to be 55 and I'll have 25 years. I'm going early retirement because she was driving me crazy. The school district was driving me crazy. It was time. When you're done, you're done. And then I decided maybe I can live on my editing, and I could.
That's awesome.
I know, we actually lived a few months in New Jersey, and I was able to survive it. When we came here to Florida, it was even better.
Sure.
But,
awesome.
Yeah.
So, as an editor, you've no doubt seen stuff like manuscripts just run the gamut of terms of like quality, genre, and all that stuff. What are some? You have any well, how do I want to phrase this?
What are the top? Down.
What's that?
Look at that! I wrote them all down yesterday.
You did? You actually prepared for this interview?
I did, but you know what's the funny part? I'm not going to put my glasses on because then I'll be a geek with glasses and headphones.
Yeah, I know. Heaven forbid there should be any of those on this.
Scott, I don't know.
No.
Well, if you have something prepared, by all means.
I do. I don't want to read to you, though, because that's what I used to do when I can probably. I'll put on the glasses and look at it if I can't get everything. But what was your question?
What are your top, say, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, whatever, tips for things that you see over and over again that could be easily fixed?
Well, you know, you either are good with writing with punctuation and all that kind of thing, or you're not. I mean, the biggest time waster I have is when somebody gives me a manuscript and they didn't punctuate their dialogue correctly. Let's put it that way. And I have people that I've worked with over and over and over that don't want to learn. They want to pay me to do it, and I'll do it. Some people do learn. They'll go, oh, well, can you tell me about why did you put a comma here, and why do I do this and that? So, I mean, I have all levels of people, and I'm not going to put anybody down for making the same error over and over. I'm just saying it is a time waster when I have to do the same thing over and over, like with punctuation. And some people, like I said, they can learn. Some people won't learn. Some people ask me, how can I learn? And what I do is I'll refer them to the Chicago Manual of Style or to Strunk and White's Element of Style, not to plug somebody who made a ton of money that I didn't, but, you know.
Of all the nerve.
But, you know, it's up to people what they want an editor to do. If they want to give me a manuscript that's very rough and raw and just, you know, they read it into their voice recognition software, okay, there's a price for everything. Yeah. In my products list. So, I you know, I'm not going to put somebody down for that. I mean, like, I'll always tell people how they can improve if they want to. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's part of the partnership. Like somebody at your level, Craig and Scott, also, you punctuate properly. Your sentences are good. I spend more time with content with you. With you, I might look up, oh, wait a minute, pug dogs weren't allowed on Delta. So that's going to ruin your whole plot.
I remember that.
I felt awful about that one because I'm thinking, you know, that screws up the whole thing. It's not, you know, if that dog can't get on the plane, this book isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, since he ended up being the hero of the whole book, the dog, if you remember correctly.
Spoiler. Craig didn't like that. Spoiler.
Assignment Paris, get it today.
Dogs, you know. So yeah, so you guys, I work more with content and like Scott, what a woman would do, what a woman doesn't do, and yeah.
Is there one manuscript that sticks out to you? I'm not obviously asking for names or titles or anything, but that was just...
They'll know, you know, because everybody that knows me is going to watch this.
Awesome. At least for the until they see what
good news. And we might actually get someone watching one of these episodes. That's very...
See, now I'm nervous. No, an audience, I'm out. No, but has there ever been a manuscript that you've had to send back? That's like whether it's just like too... I don't know, like offensive or something, like, you know, I just cannot deal with this, or it's just too much of a mess.
They always send it back. They go, I'll pay you more. I don't say no to too many people. I really don't. I think that's why people end up with me a lot. And that's probably why I don't stop working ever, because I don't say no to somebody. I don't say, go back and do this, so I'll take care of it, because I figured they sent me the best that they could.
You have done some writing, though, and you kind of
I
dismissed it
have.
early on. But you have one book out. Well, you have several books out. I'm thinking of the one that went through Northern Lake, but you have several books out.
I
And
I unpublished everything except for that
did
because
you?
because I wanted to revise them and maybe resubmit them
I see.
like at a later date.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
why I unpublished basically everything that I had published. It wasn't shame; it was just regrouping.
yeah. No,
You
that
know.
makes sense.
Mhm.
I've done that myself. But are you working on anything currently?
Um, I had I had started a short story because I've been working with a lot of sci-fi authors lately, and I figured I would try my hand at sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, what I came up with was called Space Butter. And
Beef butter. I like it.
Space
Yummy.
Butter, everybody likes that. It's about this guy. And also, I'm fascinated by the idea in space. Like, if you don't like somebody and they're in your spaceship, you put them in the airlock and you, like, you know, I thought that was the coolest thing ever,
Basically,
you
what we do
know?
on this show too.
And yeah, but like, think about how neat that is. Nobody will ever know,
Right.
because you
Right.
really, what kind of, like, you can't get the body or anything, can you?
Right.
It's like
Corpse? What
out
corpse?
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and then it floats near your car. It's like, go away, go away. But this guy,
Distraction.
this, okay, this is going to sound really good because you're going to want to read this. I didn't finish it, of course, because I just got damn busy.
Right. Right.
January is my busiest.
Mm.
Christmas is not. So I started this Christmas time, and January. Damn, if it wasn't January 1st and people were sticking to their New Year's resolutions, and I got flooded. And then by the time some people are done with their New Year's resolution, it's March. So of course I'm still getting a lot of business. So January, February, March, super busy. And every year I grab more people, which is wonderful. I love it.
Right.
But anyway, Space Butter, which is not finished. The concept is that there's this man and his wife has become completely obese, and he wants to get rid of her. So what he does, so that they can, well, he also makes it seem like so we can be together again because you're not interested in me. They see on the holo screen, which is the word for TV, in the future,
Yes.
they see that he sells weapons, by the way. I think that's what it was. I can't even remember, it was so long ago. I have to send it to you so you can look at it. It's not finished, but you might enjoy it unfinished. What he does is, his car doesn't work very well. The part that closes, like the airlock on the passenger side, is kind of
I hate it
loose.
when my airlock
It was
goes out. That is
recalled.
the worst.
I know, right? It was recalled. It's so much better on paper. I can't tell a story to save my life. Okay, I am the worst storyteller in the world. I go off on tangents, as you see. But anyway, he wants his obese wife done away with. So he wants to get her in the car, but she's too fat to fit in his car anymore. So he has to go across the universe because they see this commercial for space butter. You eat a piece of the space butter and you lose about 10 pounds. So he goes, fights aliens and everything because he has to go way across the universe. He gets the space butter. He comes back, and the premise is that he gets her thin enough to fit in the car, and then he spaces her. And then because he's having an affair with somebody. So, spoiler alert.
Well, I would make one suggestion. If he doesn't want to wait until she actually loses the weight, he can get her down a little bit and then put the space butter all over her so she'll slide out of the airlock easier.
Oh my God, that's good.
The best space. I would never.
This is why I wanted to collaborate with you. We were going to surprise you, Craig. We were going to write a novel together.
Oh my
and
God, that
submit
would be
it to you.
amazing.
That was
We're
back
still
in
gonna do it.
December
We're
before it got all
eventually.
busy.
Because the idea was just too good not to follow through on it eventually.
Wait, weren't we
Right.
going to murder him or something?
Wait, what?
No, we thought he was going to murder
No,
you.
yes.
Remember that?
I don't. Did I even tell you about this? That Beth and I had this thing going that when I came to visit you last August, that I was going to find a stack of dead writers in one of your closets. and that I would end up floating on the top of that.
Wasn't it something to do with Paul Brand, though?
Oh, probably. Paul works his way into things.
Yeah.
Because at one point, Paul was going to come at the same time I did. It didn't end up working out that way, but yeah.
Women don't do that.
Yeah. Funny. Oh, Scott, do you have anything you would like to ask our honored guest?
Well, I actually would like to finish a question we started earlier. We were talking about your novel that was published by Northern Lake, and then we just kind of went off into one of our crazy little tangents. So tell us a little bit about your novel.
Oh, my goodness. I wish I had a copy of it right here. I know they're in the closet. It was called Thank You, Mr. Hookworm. And I tried to make, I guess, what was it? What is the genre? Young adult fantasy. Yeah. And, it have, because of Stranger Things, I think I wanted to have like a, what's that called? The Upside Down world or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So it's basically about people that become superheroes, but they don't want to be because they get injected with some hookworm virus or whatever it is, and if they respond to it, they develop superpowers. And I got the idea because about that time, this little cat came to us, and I already have 7 of them. 3 of them were my mother's. She couldn't take care of them anymore, and 4 of them were mine. And this little cat just appeared in our yard one day, and the doctor said he had hookworm. So I started reading about hookworm. Craig's leaving.
Yeah, I know. You said it with the whole thing.
He's like, this is such bullshit. Who the fuck thinks of this stuff, Ooh, are we on 7? See, now I'm with you. I'm using the F word already. I hate you.
Yep, I know. This is my fault. My fault.
These are things he's cutting out. But anyway, so it's a whole little fantasy book. Maybe he's looking for... No, he can't. He doesn't have a hard copy.
No, I don't either. I just have it on my Kindle.
I should just take my headphones off and excuse myself. Where do you think he went? Do you think he's checking on those writers in the closet?
It could be. It could be. They were getting pretty ripe when I was there, so he might need to rotate them.
Oh, don't tell somebody who has twin kids that their house smelled ripe.
Oh, good. He's dead. So anyway, yeah, Craig is the greatest guy.
So that's what the book is about.
It was very interesting, but not as interesting as what I just had to clean up. Oh, boy. Twins had a bit of a poop issue.
What did I tell you?
If you like, I can see if I can get the poop emoji pants from my daughter.
That would actually fit. It would make sense at our house. That would make sense at our house. God, that's pretty much what I do is clean up poop.
Yeah, my son used to, when he was 4 years old, he would yell. We had 3 bathrooms at the time, and we had an upstairs. And I was kind of like an old parent when I got started. I was 35 when I had Zach. And so, by the time he was like pooping on the toilet, like 3 years ago. No, I'm kidding.
That's why they left him in New Jersey.
That's right. But I guess he was maybe around 3 or something, and he would yell, "Wipe me!" He would be on the toilet yelling, "Wipe me!" So I'd have to come in the bathroom and wipe him. I can't believe the things I used to do. But he started doing this prank on me. He would say, "Wipe me!" And I go, "Which bathroom are you in?" He would yell, "The one upstairs." I would go upstairs, no Zach on the toilet.
Oh my God.
And then I would hear from downstairs, "Wipe me!" And I would that little
about kill you. Oh yeah. Right now the twins thing where they go out and poop, then they call, "Daddy, you have to come in here." Like, just in that tone of voice. I'm like, oh.
It happened again.
Right. You pooped yesterday. What's wrong with you? I'm taking you to the doctor.
Right? Don't feed them vegetables. I mean, like, I used to feed these guys just like bread or something because I really didn't want to wipe them. I was a good mom.
Here's your daily bowl of plaster of Paris. Enjoy.
Right.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah,
right.
so there is one that I much prefer to wipe than the other. So I'll just leave it at that. So,
Which one? Which one? I won't
Christopher.
tell.
It's Christopher. One of these days he's going to see this.
Yeah, and Andrew's going to be like, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
It's a
I'm
better
glad that
white
woman's
meat.
dead.
Christopher is the more pleasant pooper. Yes. It is on record, folks.
Well, Andrew is the one who came up with the great saying that I always refer to. Sometimes tooties turn to poopies.
Right.
Well, you know they do, and here in my house, that's a celebration. Right, Scott?
Absolutely.
Isn't
Bring
that
out
how
the
it
prune
goes?
cake.
Like, oh, I pooped
Any-
today.
Any day the plumbing works is a good day.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
see,
exactly
I-
right.
I'm going off camera for a second so you guys can see this. Hold on.
Is he going to go poop?
I don't know.
All right. So we
Did
We
you get a
bought a
letter from the
squatty
president? Oh,
and with our squatty potty came this crown that you get to wear while
my
you're pooping.
God, give.
And,
oh.
and
I can't wear a hat when I'm doing that.
And then it also came with this pin.
What did it
Nice.
say?
I pooped today.
Please tell me you actually wear that in public.
I wear it all the time, even when I don't poop.
How about when you vote? Do you?
It depends on
I'm
who you
going
vote
to
for.
wear this the next presidential election instead of I voted today.
My
I
cat is
pooped it.
staring at you. You can't see her on the camera, but she's staring. I don't know why I'd mention it. There's Bill. There she is.
Whoa, hi. Oh, that one looks like
Not the
Gracie
one on my
cat.
shirt. There's
Oh, I actually thought that was a second cat. I was like, holy shit.
hallucinogenics much?
It's the odor from the kid's poop has negatively affected his
Oh,
brain.
God, yes.
Yeah.
See, it always degrades to this, you know?
Yes.
3 people talking about poop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's gonna have to be the header for the show. 3 people talking about.
Yeah. Well, there is that. What is that? It's not a saying. It's like not a philosophy. You'll have to help me out. But anyway, something that if a conversation goes on long enough, it will eventually, or an argument, it will eventually get to Hitler. Here on this show, if we talk long enough, it will eventually get to poop.
Yes.
Poop.
And if
Yeah.
we talk really long, it'll get to Hitler's poop.
Right.
So,
Well, let's end it now. I think we're ahead. So. But seriously, I do want to thank Beth Lynne for joining Scott and myself on the Games and Writers Show. This was a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. I had fun,
And
too.
I
We
think
got
we
to
should
do
do
this
it again
again.
sometime.
Yes.
Yes. Scott, despite his best efforts, was not able to ruin it, was actually helpful.
Yeah, he was very well behaved until he started talking about Hitler's poop. My God.
yeah. Well, it's inevitable,
And that's
apparently.
the high note. It's an
Well, yeah, so I was going to end the conversation before he got there, but the sneaky thing was that he had already done it.
Yep.
Wily little rat.